Chapter 3, Section 4 starts on page 141 in your textbook. Stop the video if you don't have your textbook because you're going to need it. We are beginning the work on page 142. We are given a number line for number 1. They want us to divide it into fourths. 3 lines will divide your line into fourths. So draw 3 different sections. Now we need to label 1/4. Here's 1/4 right here. The middle would be 2/4, and that is 3/4. Number 2, now we're going to divide into twelfths. You're going to need 11 lines to divide it into 12 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's my 12 parts. 12 twelfths would be 1. First one is 5/12, so just count over. 1 12, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5/12 would be right here. Second one I want us to do is 11/12. This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11/12 goes right here. 1/12 for C, very first one. Then D is 7/12. So I'm going to start at 5/12, 6, 7, 7/12. If I get going too fast in the video, hit your space bar. That will pause the video so you can get caught up. Let's skip number 3. We'll jump down to 4. We're going to divide this one into 8 equal sections. We need 7 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Try to get them as even as you can, probably better than your teacher did there. 5/8. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, which is a half. 5/8 goes right there. C is 1/8. And we need 7/8. There's 5/8 right here. 6, 7/8 goes here. And then the last one is 3/8. 1, 2, 3. 3/8. On page 143, the term benchmark fraction comes up. A benchmark fraction is just a common fraction that we're going to use to estimate. The 3 that we're going to be using are 0, 1/2, and 1. That's it. That's all you need to know. Those 3 fractions. Yes, 0 is a fraction. Yes, 1's a fraction. We can write any number as a fraction. Write a number, not number 1a, less than 1/2. I'm going to write 3/7. Write a fraction that's exactly 1/2. I'm going to go with 4/8. Whenever you can double the numerator and it equals the denominator, that fraction is 1/2. So if my numerator is 6, the denominator is 12. If my numerator is 200, the denominator would be 400. If you double the numerator and get the denominator, that's a 1/2 fraction. Greater than but not equal to 1/2. So let's just go with 6. I know that 3/6 is a half, so I need to be bigger than 3, so I'm going to go with 4/6. D, close to but not equal to 0. Let's go with 1/10. Exactly 1. Your numerator and denominator are the exact same number. Close to, but not equal to 1. I'm going to use the fractions I use, the denominators I use. So 7ths, 6/7. That would be pretty close to 1. 7/8. 13/14. When your numerator is close to your denominator, but a little bit less, that would be close to 1. And finally, exactly 0. Your numerator is 0. 7, 10. Okay. Number 2, name the closest benchmark fraction for each fraction given. 4/9. Remember, your answers are only going to be 0, 1/2, or 1. 4/9. If I double 4, I get 8, which is really close to 9. So that one's close to a half. 5 out of 67, that's nowhere near a half. That one's 0. I'm going down. 5, 6. 5's really close to the denominator of 6, so that fraction is closest to 1. 1 out of 17, 0. I'm in the second column. 8 ninths, that is closest to 1. E, 7 fifteenths. If I double 7, I get 14, really close to 15. It's less than a half, but it's really close to a half. Same with 14 27ths. If I double 14, I get 28. So this means this fraction is bigger than a half, but if I'm rounding it, it is 1/2. 5/11ths, once again, that is a half. Right now, I'd like you to pause the video, hit the space bar, and do the last column, and then check your answers with what I've got. All right, you paused the video and you did C, F, I, and L, right? You're not just waiting for me to write the answers on the board. 6 out of 100, you should have written 0. 7 twelfths, that's closest to a half. More than a half, but it's close to a half. 12 thirteenths, that would be close to 1. 3 sevenths would be close to a half. Those are benchmark fractions. All right, on page 144, we're going to write the unknown numerator or denominator so that each fraction is close to but less than a half. If I have twelfths, if I write 6, that's a half, so we want less, so I'm going to write 5. 8 sixteenths, which should give us more room, they don't. 8 sixteenths would be a half, so I want it a little bit less, so I'm going to do 17ths. E, 7 thirteenths would be more than a half. 6 thirteenths is less than a half. 27ths, that would be 13. So if I double 13, I get 26. That's less than a half. 13.5 27ths is a half. If I double 7, I get 14. That's equal to 1/2. We want to be a little bit less, so I'm going to put 15 there. Double 9 would be 18. 9 eighteenths is a half, so I want a little bit less, so I'm going to change the denominator to 19. Problem number 4. Write the unknown numerator or denominator so that each fraction is close to but less than 1. This time, the numbers just need to be close together. So for A, 16 17ths, 15 17ths is close, 14 17ths is close, 7 eighths, that'd be really close to 1. If I have 13 14ths, that's close to 1. Second column with B, 11 twelfths, D, 17 18ths, and then F, 9 tenths. Benchmark fractions. Woohoo! Number 5, rewrite each expression using benchmark fractions, then estimate the sum, explain your reasoning. 8 ninths, is that closest to 0, 1/2, or 1? Hopefully you just said 1, at least in your head. 6 sevenths is closest to 1. So an estimate for 8 ninths plus 6 sevenths would be 2. B, 1/11th, that's closest to 0. 8 17ths. If I double 8, I get 16. That's really close to 17. So that I'm going to write 1/2. 0 plus a half is 1/2. Be sure you're writing all of these down. C, 10 11ths, really close to 1. 11 twelfths, 1. 12 13ths, 1. 13 14ths, 1. 14 15ths, yes, it's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A good estimate for C is 5. Would the actual answer be more than 5 or less than 5? All right, jump to page 146. Now we're going to use inequality symbols to compare two fractions. We're going to use the benchmark fractions to compare these. Remember the mouth, I always like to call it a shark, Shark likes to eat the biggest number. 11 twelfths is closest to 1. 5 ninths is close to a half. 11 twelfths is greater than 5 ninths. 5 out of 9 or 5 out of 7? Would you rather have 5 out of 7 pieces of pizza or 5 out of 9 pieces of pizza? This one's closest to a half. This is actually closer to 1. 5/7 is greater. 7/13. If I double 7, I would get 14. This is greater than a half. This is greater than a half. If I double 5, I would get 10. This is less than a half. 7/13 is greater than 5/11. D's easy. 5/10 or 7/10. Would you rather have 5 pieces of pizza or 10 pieces of pizza? Your teacher would always take the 7 pieces. Number 2, determine a fraction that keeps each list in ascending order. Ascending means going up. 3/7 blank 6/7. You could write 4/7 or 5/7. 3/8. 3/4. 3/4 is how many eighths? 6/8. You could write 4/8 or 5/8. That's not your bill. Keep working. 1/4 and 2/4. This is 25 cents. This is 50 cents. Can you think of a fraction that's in between 25 cents and 50 cents? 1/3 of a dollar is. You could make them eighths. 1/4 is 2/8. 2/4 is 4/8. You could write 3/8. Look at D, 1/4 and 5/9. Common denominator. Let's go with 36. I multiplied 4 times 9. I got to multiply the 1 by 9. So that's 9/36. I multiplied 9 by 4. I have to multiply the 5 by 4. So you have to write a fraction that's in between 9/36 and 20/36. You have lots of options there. All right, last page for your textbook. So I have page 147. We're going to list the fractions shown in ascending order. Ascending means going up. Another way this could have been written is least to greatest. Whenever you have a list of fractions like this, you need to find a common denominator. Let's look at B. We got 5, 10, 12, and 7. That doesn't seem like much fun, but I have to find the common denominator for those 4 numbers. Remember last section when we were doing least common denominator? Well, here it is. I know that every 10, 5 is going to go into. So if I have multiples of 5, it's going to go into 10. So I don't really need to worry about the 5. If I'm trying to do 7 and 10, the first common multiple of 7 and 10 is 70. Does 12 go into 7 evenly? No. The closest it gets to is 72. The next multiple for 7 and 10 would be 140. Does 12 go into 140 evenly? 12 does not go into 140 evenly. The next one would be 210. On your calculator, you would go 210 divided by 12. We're trying to find a number that 12 can go into. It does not. 280. 280 divided by 12, you get a decimal again. The next multiple is 350. On your calculator, you would go 350 divided by 12. You get 29.16666. finally, you end up at 420. 420 divided by 12 is 35. Your common denominator for all of these fractions would be 420. Whee! Now you have to change all your numerators. So 420 divided by 5 is 84. 84 times 4 is 336. 4/10. 42 times 4 is 168. 4/12. 420. First you got to find 420 divided by 12. That's 35. 35 times 4 is 140. And then 420 divided by, 420 divided by 77, jeez, is 60. 60 times 4 is 240. We did common denominators. Now we can write them in ascending order. The smallest fraction is 4/12. Cross that out. The next fraction is 4/10. After that, you've got 240, which is the 4/7. And finally, 4/5 is the greatest. That's a long problem. Common denominators. That's how you figure that one out. Benchmark fractions would be close. Sometimes it's hard to tell between 4/10 and 4/12, 4/5 and 4/7. We will do these problems also in class. All right, that's the end of section 3.4. In class, you're going to show me that you completed the textbook along with the video, and then you're going to work on the practice packet in class. Make sure you grab the practice packet 3.4. Good job.